early December 2023 with the Lovelocks in Sunninghill. Rough cut photo trail. And it will be a rough cut. I'll start with a standard introduction. Here we are, where we live at 22 Armitage Court in Sunninghill, with warning signs about fierce guard cats. Robin's Corner, where GPS was tested at this spot from the late 1980s. Bit of garden sculpture from June, from my birthday present a couple of years ago. Yeah, Homer on Christmas guard duty, looking after the property and the camper. And yeah, it's a standard thing. Yeah, website gpss.co.uk. that was a business many decades ago, now hobbies and charitable causes. One of the projects a year or two back, accommodation for fierce guard cats, including armed mice. And the camper that was used to take Snoopy's robot boat down to the coast. You'll see the robot boat soon. And here's the battle damage. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. Then the health and safety warnings I have to give before we enter the property. I should have given them earlier. Warning signs everywhere, cameras of course, and you have to read the small print about water squirters. There, I've done the necessary health and safety warnings. So now into the house. Got to be quiet because Samantha's working from home in our games room, and one of the reasons for these videos is to help or encourage people who may want to help tidy the place up and get this back to the sort of place it was decades ago, because there's a snooker table under all that, believe it or not, and that's Snoopy's robot boat being prepared for the next attempt to cross the Atlantic. Don't get any chance to do any work on it. And here is Bentley, the cat from opposite, who trains our cat Toadie that's tucked away somewhere. So, this is a little project I may get a chance to work on, which is a fairy, a bit different from the usual fairy, to go on a Christmas tree. And the women in here making coffee. I hope this is a coffee break, Samantha. Yeah. And I did have something on the screen here, but it seems to have been taken off the screen. Not to worry. So that's the kitchen. What I will point out is we made a bit of progress, not only with plastering that this year, but the mirrors, or temporary test mirrors. Here's my untidy study. This is all stuff which we hope will get people to help, as I got a bit of help only a couple of days ago. So this is the lounge. This is Robin's naughty corner, where I tend to look at some of the closed circuit TV cameras for the night before typically. And here what we have here is the current project, if you call it a project, which is their newsletter. So copies have been printed off to stuff in envelopes, and what's on the screen is, and the key thing is, if you've got a reasonable resolution screen, then you can easily scroll down it. And enough talking from me. Alright, let's come back here. So this is a quick, I'd make this even quicker than the usual videos, partly because it's practically raining. Loads of work to do in the garden, and Paul gave us a lot of help last year and the year before in work in the garden, mostly engineering projects, I would say, so I could put steps in and all the rest of it. And most important of the lot is space to put things, and June and myself are able to spend a little bit of time, so that in clearing the junk out, it takes more time to actually decide what should be thrown away. So I've said before, lots of saws, but the best saws aren't necessarily the brightly coloured ones. So loads of work needed here, not just clearing the leaves and things out, but hanging things up in the right place. And in fact, we made a bit of progress in terms of now the cable for the new lamp, which is I'm quite happy with, is now in a bit of ducting, and so that was done with Paul only a couple of days ago. Yes, much of this is not much different. Telescope, haven't worked on that for years ago, built it as a school kid. Right, pond, yes, that needs work on. So what I will say here before we run into the photo trail is at the end I'm going to have some standard video which was shot back in June, I think it was, so 2023, talking about global warming and the prophetic words of James Lovelock. And in short, global warming is going to happen and you haven't seen anything yet. And then the lighter subject, perhaps for some, of the farcical situation with the TVLA and the fact I still don't have my driving licence. So now, into those photo trails. Friday the 1st of December 2023. 3.5 minutes of photos, including less than a minute summary at the start. Yes, processing of the end of November video, and did a little bit more on those temporary mirrors around the skylights. Put up Homer and the Christmas decorations, and Robin improvised a better way of reducing the light going up on that lamp at the back. Anyhow, at the back end of the day, Robin watched the closed circuit TV from the night before, the foxes visiting, while June watched the TV. So that was it, up to bed. So now into the full photo trail. Yes, processing of the video for the end of November, and did a little bit more on the trimming of the temporary mirrors. There's the materials, we'll tidy those away soon. And Bentley, yes, came over for his usual meals and then relaxing on the windowsill. And June rustling up lunch for Robin, that looks like. And yes, put up Homer and the reindeer, I think that is. And that's the thing that Robin got from Chapman's, which was, I think, a outside food cover, but lined with Bako foil. It does quite a good job of directing the light down onto the garden instead of up onto the trees. So the front looks very different now, complete with reindeer, solar powered of course. And there's the clips which we no longer need going along the gutter, because the lights are held up differently, and that makes cleaning the gutter a lot easier. So June's rustled up dinner. Robin takes it into his naughty corner in the lounge, where he can watch the overnight closed circuit TV while June watches the tennis. And yeah, usual pattern there. Foxes come in several times overnight on the top bridge just outside the lounge patio door and the front porch. And yeah, that's it, you're being watched. And the camera's switched to colour at about 07:28. Now working back from midnight, same sort of pattern of the foxes coming for the peanuts. Robin coming back from the village, the Comrades Club, I expect. And that's when he was leaving. Don't forget we're running backwards in time at the moment. And the camera switched to black and white mode for night at about 16:30. And right now, live, there was a fox in the peanuts on the bridge. June's watching the tennis. I decide that's enough. Up to bed. End of photo trial. Saturday, the 2nd of December 2023. 6 minutes of photos, including this 1 minute summary at the start. Yeah, visit to Bray Lake. Checked the place out and got myself some warmer clothes in terms of a hat and gloves, and yes, checked the peanuts, watched the animals visiting the peanuts, and yeah, video WhatsApp chat with family. And Bentley, I think, decided he's had his food. I took mine into the naughty corner in the lounge. June comes in to watch Strictly Come Dancing. I take a walk down into the village, into the Comrades Club, force myself to have a glass of wine and enjoy the conversation. Football was on. Then made my way back. Yes, decorations with Homer on guard duty. And June's still watching Strictly, so that's the end of the summary. So yes, visited Bray Lake. Very still and quiet, much the same as last time we visited it, and that's when we decided to try a few places to get myself a warmer pair of gloves, and got it from Tesco in the end, and also a hat. The hat came with a beard, so that was a very practical thing to get in this cold weather. So now looking at the trackers, anybody could see where Robin was just by going to the contact page. And there's a visit to various places, including Bray Lake. And yeah, where next? Probably Tesco, where I've got the gloves and the warmer hat. And back home, just here. Put out the peanuts on the bottom bridge, and that gunra needed a bit of insulation from the cold weather, so did something about that. Peanuts on the bridge just outside the so-called top bridge, on the porch, on the pavement, on the road, and put the peanuts back where they're kept at the moment. Bentley decided to go out since he'd eaten, and I relaxed there looking at the closed circuit TV. First running forward from midnight, usual pattern of the foxes. That's on the top bridge just outside the lounge. Two foxes there at the same time. They weren't arguing too much, taking their turns to eat the peanuts. And one on the front porch. Several foxes, and they come at different times. He's looking over his shoulder all the time in case a fierce pussycat creeps up on him. Yes, there's the foxes there, and it gets through to, yes, camera switch at about 7:30 to colour for the day. And now we're working back from midnight. Same sort of pattern of foxes coming on the top bridge, and oh yes, that camera played up then, I think. Yeah, so then yeah, women arrive back. So it got switched to cut to black and white at 4:30. So what am I doing there? Not very much. Probably just tweaking the camera position so that you could see that lit up deer, I suppose it is. Well, that'll do. Oh, and Toadies decide to play with my hat, which has got a beard. Oh, video WhatsApp chat with family, and part of that was June taking her smartphone out and showing Homer. Bentley had his food, so he's off home, I think. I take my food through into the naughty corner in the lounge, where I can watch the closed circuit TV live, or June comes in and watches Strictly Come Dancing. I thought, oh, I probably need a bit of exercise really, so yeah, go and stretch my legs, say hello to Homer, and then take a walk down into the village. It was cold, but it wasn't windy, so it wasn't too bad. Into the Comrades Club, enjoy a glass of wine and conversations. There was football on. I think it was Manchester United versus Newcastle, and Newcastle won. And then make my way back home. Yes, there's Homer. There's the decorations. And into the house. And June's watching Strictly. Shut the PC down. And that's pretty well the end of the photo trail. End on that picture, I think. Sunday the 3rd of December 2023, 9.5 minutes of photos, including this 1.5 minute summary at the start. Yes, main event was walking over to Chobham Common and spending a few minutes at least helping the guys with Surrey Wildlife Fund, clearing a few things like the new Christmas trees that were springing up, and then checked out that place that was closed sadly, and then had a meal at the Red Lion, both over at Lightwater, and then back by Longacres, picked up something, put out the peanuts, and yeah, there's Bentley relaxing. Yeah, checked the closed circuit TV for the night before, including foxes coming for peanuts on the front porch and the back. And that was an interesting thing. A guy looked as though he came in to take a selfie of himself with Homer. Bang on midnight. There's, yeah, June's watching Strictly. I decided to take a walk, stretch my legs, down to the Comrades Club, have a glass of wine and learn by watching other guys play pool in a game I hadn't seen before. Sort of ping pong with your feet and head. And time for bed. So that's the end of the summary. Now into the full photo trail. Yes, Robin with Homer and June, and we're off to meet up the lads. So it should have been over there at 10. It was at least an hour after that, in the morning that is, to the Longcross car park at Chobham Common. So through the village, few landmarks, past the Morrow School, through Sunninghill, out onto the common, and make our way over the motorway to the car park nearby. And you could tell that the car park was pretty well empty, so there weren't obviously many people there, and they've got a new sign there the council have put up by the look of it. And yeah, horse riders. So we're making our way, and I made a mistake. My excuse is I was confused by seeing some smoke, and I thought that they'd chosen the spot near the Tank Hill, but they hadn't. And the job was basically rooting up the young pine trees, and well, they were burning them, and otherwise the thing would be a big forest. Usual views across, and then June and I walk across to Tank Hill, the flying spot, and that sign for the Chobham Common Flyers is a little worn. And I had a look round, and there was some things left in memory of people, of course. The pegboard is still there. That's been there for many years. I can remember in the 1980s when the club was first formed. And yeah, familiar views, familiars. The guy with the Rottweiler, lovely dog, and some signs on the seats in memory of guys. So, time to make our way back. So the place hasn't changed that much. Lovely area of common land. Back to the car, and we decided to go over to Lightwater, and I'd seen on the Google mapping that there was a Italian cafe, Adriatico, but sadly it was closed. And then we really, to turn round, we went into the country park, and just to turn round, but I did take the pictures of those signs so people could identify the birds on the pond, and had a nice light lunch at the Red Lion. Enjoyed that, included the atmosphere, particularly the young kids. Yes, they got all their Christmas decorations up now. And so we make our way back via Longacres. I picked up something there, and then make our way back home into Berkshire. They're putting up a sign for that new show. Right, that's what I bought some more of while it was still there in stock, which is like a little marker between Carol's and our place. And right now it's quite useful to string the decorations from. Yeah, now looking at the tracker, anybody could see where Robin's tracker was, and possibly Robin. So that's our total trip for the day, including walking around the common, and the trip to Lightwater, Adriatico, and then the Red Lion, and then to Longacres, and then back home. Yes, back here. Oh, I noticed the gutter. I started clearing the gutter as best I could. It wasn't easy at all, but it was easier now that the Christmas lights are not clipped onto the edge of the gutter. And of course that's so that the water drains into the ponds. That's Bentley seen through the window, I think. So I'm putting out the peanuts. That's on the bottom bridge. Now looking up the garden. And another view of Bentley. Hello, Bentley. Then on the front porch, and then on the pavement, on the road. Yes, hello, Homer. And put the peanuts back where I'm keeping them at the moment. And did a closed circuit TV check for the night before, a bit earlier. And so starting from midnight, running forward, and the usual pattern of foxes there on the top bridge, just outside the patio door of the lounge, and on the front porch. And of course things come for the peanuts over the year, different things. We've had deer come in for the peanuts at the right time of the year. Hedgehogs, of course, occasionally birds, and certainly the foxes. And the camera switches to colour at 07:33. And then working back from midnight, called in Jude to see that. Yes, looks like a young lad had decided to take a selfie of himself. Yes, I think I saw him holding his smartphone there. And yeah, now carrying on with the check, working backwards from midnight. There's a fox approaching up the path to the pond. Top bridge. There's me coming back and then going to the Comrades Club. Realise we're running this in reverse. There's the fox again, and there's a bit of mist, low cloud, whatever you call it. And what have we got next? Oh yes, Robin posing with Homer, and that's where the cameras switch from colour during the day to black and white. Right, June's rustled up dinner, so Robin takes his dinner into the lounge and Robin's naughty corner, where he can relax and watch the closed circuit TV. June then comes in with Toadie to relax and watch Strictly Come Dancing. I decide I'll get a bit of exercise, force myself to walk all the way down to the village,
wasn't too wet. And into the Comrades Club, forced myself to have a glass of wine. And of course, being a Sunday, there's the lads from across the road. And that was a game I hadn't seen before. I think it's spelled TEQ ball. It's basically ping pong, table tennis, but played with heads and feet. There's a fox live just outside the patio door, eating the peanuts, of course. Time to shut down the PCs and go up. So that's the end of the photo trail. Monday the 4th of December 2023. 5 minutes of photos, including this minute summary at the front. Yes, the usual pattern of the cats and things, and Robin managed to do a bit of work on the robot boat. Let's hope his soldering doesn't have dry joints. And yeah, that lamp had fallen down during the night, or at least the top of it had. I decided no, it wasn't worth fixing that. It's been there a long time. So we went out and got a cheap lamp as a suitable basis and put that up. There's Bentley guarding the property. Put the peanuts out a bit earlier in the day. June came in to watch Strictly Come Dancing on the telly. I looked at the previous night's visits, foxes this time. So that's the summary. So now into the full photo trail. Yes, there's the games room. It hasn't been tidied up yet. There's Bentley. He's had his breakfast, so he's now relaxing in the games room. Did a bit of soldering on the boat, which is basically soldering the power through the switches to a couple of terminals. But I have to be very careful about dry joints, so let's just hope I did that job okay. Nobody to check my work at the moment. So, at least a little bit of progress on that. Yes, the stuff is still there, hasn't done much more work on that temporary mirror job. We decided to take a trip out looking for an alternative for the lamp. Oh no, that was not that. That was June getting back from shopping down at Bagshot. And yeah, the trackers showed her quite well, but she seemed a bit late. Just those last few minutes. It turns out they had traffic lights, roadworks. So June gets back and I wear myself out bringing all that shopping in. Hard work that was. Probably checking the trackers there. Oh yes, that's that lamp that had fallen down, or at least the lid of it had fallen down, and I ended up breaking the thing. It was such an old one I'd put up many years ago, and it still worked, but nowhere near as bright as the new one. So I left it there. Thought, well, come up with some other solution. And the other solution, it turned out, was quite good. Anyway, so that's the old one. Might make some use of it sometime. But all those little lights, the Christmas lights, can be taken off and put onto the new one. There's Bentley. He's now looking out the patio door. I decided to put the peanuts out. So, yeah, out on the pavement, on the road. And Bentley follows me out and then decides to sit on the corner guarding the premises. Then I do the back garden, so that's the peanuts on the top bridge and on the bottom bridge. Bit blurred that, but yes, shows you the back garden. And that at glimpse you saw there was a lamppost without a lamp on the top of it. Right, then a trip into the range, and we came away with, I think, a good solution, which was and also some materials. Looking for a bracket, I ended up getting a whatever that was, a table leg, small one. So time for dinner, and all these things going on at the same time. So yeah, have a dinner, and then pop out and do the best I could in the dark to put the new lamp in position. Only roughly, but at least it proved it would probably work. June then watches Strictly Come Dancing. I checked the closed circuit TV over the previous night, running forward from midnight. Yes, usual pattern of the foxes. There's an example of a fox on the back bridge and front porch at the same time. We decided there's at least 3 or 4 foxes of this generation coming around. Through to when the camera switched to colour, about 07:35, and then back from midnight. Again, similar pattern of the foxes eating the peanuts, and Robin returning from the Comrades Club, and Robin leaving to the Comrades Club. And there's the camera switching to black and white at 16:20. So, oh, and right then, live on the TV was a fox outside the patio door. And yeah, so that's the end of the photo trail. Tuesday the 5th of December 2023, 4.5 minutes of photos, including less than a minute's summary at the start. Took a trip out for various things, including ducting for the wiring in the garden, and total deaths come out from ONS, not just COVID. And there's the badger on the closed circuit TV, another wildlife. Took a trip down to stretch my legs, down into the village and into the Comrades Club. Forced myself to have a glass of wine and enjoy the atmosphere. Christmas, of course. And make my way back. Quite a cold but not unpleasant night because there's no wind. So that's pretty well the end of the summary. So now into the full photo trail. Yes, the total deaths get released from Office of National Statistics, and they show problems not just related to COVID, even though that's when the procedure was started. And yes, there's a squirrel, and that prompted me, oh, perhaps I should take some more photographs today. And now checking where we went on the tracker. So trip to Wokingham, to the Oxfam charity shop where June had some things to donate, and popped into some other places, and mostly for materials, and Long Acres last of all to get some more of those lights, and back home. Yes, just here. So what are we doing now? Looks like I'm relaxing in front of the closed circuit TV, looking at visits by the wildlife to eat the peanuts. The fox, of course, or foxes. There's at least 3 of them at the moment. And then that same fox seemed to come round from the back round to the porch and have a few there. And through to when the camera switched, 07:44. That's when it got light enough for the cameras to switch to colour. So now I must be moving backwards from midnight. Same sort of pattern. Visits for the peanuts, the foxes mostly these days. A few months ago it was hedgehogs. But something I'd forgotten, I had made a note of it earlier, which is the badger. The badger come into the top bridge just outside the lounge, and he has been seen on the front porch as well, but that night he just came to the back, and I could see the route he took away. He went down the path at the side of the house, or the back of the house. So now we're still going back, so there's things like switching to black and white from colour during the day. And June's called dinner, so I go in and get my share, come into Robin's naughty corner while they eat in the kitchen, and oh yes, I treat myself to an ice cream cornet. And Tony comes in to join me in the lounge. Had a bit of a doze, but not for very long. Soon woke up, especially when June came in to watch Strictly Come Dancing. Bit boring, bit more of a doze, but not for very long. Thought, no, I needed a bit of exercise. So take a walk down past Homer on sentry duty, down into the village, and into the Comrades Club, enjoy the atmosphere and a glass of wine. And of course its Christmas decorations are up now, and yes, time to walk back. Cold night, but not windy, so not too unpleasant. So back into the house. Yes, they're watching Strictly still, catching up on Strictly, and time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Wednesday the 6th of December 2023, 5 minutes of photos including this minute summary at the start. Yes, it was pub lunch day with grumpy old friends at the Red Lion at Lightwater. So good food and conversations. The place was well decorated, and then back for coffee at Robin's place. And then June and Robin took a trip out, a bit of shopping for various things, including material for a fairy, and then popped into the Bansals for coffee, and those lights will be going further up the trees. June rustled up dinner, Robin took it into the naughty corner in the lounge. June came in to watch Strictly Come Dancing. Robin checked the closed circuit TV for the night before, mostly visits by the foxes to eat the peanuts. And yes, Robin decided to stretch his legs and take a trip down into the village and into the Comrades Club to enjoy a glass of wine and the atmosphere, including Christmas decorations, and then make his way back home. More lights going up all the time there. June's watching Strictly. So that's the end of the summary. So now into the full photo trail. Yes, Homer on guard duty, slightly repositioned, and that looks like the guys arriving pub lunch, and then us getting there at the Red Lion at Lightwater. So enjoy their meals. All had something slightly different, and that was mine. And yes, the place is well decorated. So we'll leave there and come back to our place for coffee, looking at the lights still going up. And then June and I take a trip out, included Hobbycraft, getting some material into the Bansals with their dog Romeo and Raj. Enjoyed our coffee there, then made our way home. And what have we got there? Oh yes, that's the material I bought for a suitably large fairy to go up the top of the tree or trees outside the front. So that was one of the places we went to, Screwfix. So I got some drain rods to make it easier to push things up the tree. Trees are pretty tall, they're taller than the house. And then back home here. So the lights were only, the drain rods helped, but I only pushed them up a little way up the tree, so I need to do a bit more work on that. Time to put the peanuts out onto the top bridge and down the garden onto the bottom bridge, looking back up the garden, onto the porch, onto the pavement on the road, and yes, put the peanuts back where they're kept for the moment. June had rustled up dinner, so I take mine into the naughty corner in the lounge where I can enjoy my food. June comes in and watches Strictly Come Dancing on the TV, and I check the previous night's closed circuit TV, first running forward from midnight. Yes, foxes on the top bridge and on the porch, eating the peanuts of course. And what have we got? There was no badger that night. That's when the cameras switched to colour at 07:28. And now going back from midnight, including me coming back and leaving for the Comrades Club, and June getting back, or us both getting back from a trip out. And what's happening here? June watching something else, Shetland I think it was. So no, time to stretch my legs, get a bit of exercise, walking all the way down to the village and into the Comrades Club, force myself to have a glass of wine, enjoy the atmosphere, all suitably decorated for Christmas. And then back home, it wasn't too bad the weather, and yes, gradually getting more lights up. Those lights are going to go up further up the tree when I get a chance. So that's the end of the photo trail. Thursday the 7th of December 2023, just 1.5 minutes of photos, including this summary at the start. Yeah, puts up some more lights over the tree and check the closed circuit TV, and that was about it really. There were other things done, but no photos. So now into the photo trail. Basically I used a stone and a bit of string to pull up some of those lights on the trees on the corner. Then check the closed circuit TV, and for once there wasn't anything other than foxes coming, and that was both after midnight and before midnight, which is these photos. So a bit boring really. There's me coming back from the club, and there's me going off to the club. There's me putting out the peanuts. And there's the camera switching at 16:16 to black and white. So, June's watching TV, that was quite good. And not that. So, off to bed. That's the end of the photo trail. Friday the 8th of December 2023, over 4 minutes of photos, including this minute summary at the start. Yeah, it started off me taking a photo for our newsletter for this year, but I ended up thinking, oh, I better take a trail of pictures showing what we did, including visit to the Porter Cabin that serves as our bank for the moment, me checking the closed circuit TV for visits of foxes for the peanuts. June and Samantha walked down to the Dog and Partridge for Christmas dinner with the tennis club. I went down to the Comrades Club, forced myself to enjoy the atmosphere and have a glass of wine, and then June and Samantha dropped by on their way back and said, oh, we've got the rain coming in, so we better make a move. So we go home, quite like the Christmas lights we put up, and so yeah, they watch the telly and time for bed. So that's the end of the summary. Now into the full photo trail. Yes, I thought time to get working on the newsletter. We needed a photo. So that's the photo which I put into the draft newsletter, and so it appears near the front, much as it has in the past. And Toadie joined us, and yes, that's a trip off to the bank, or what serves as a bank, but we also took a trip down to home base, and I picked up some more materials. Got a nice long call from Paul, and good to catch up. And what else? Oh yes, I decided I needed a photo for the newsletter that's being drafted at the moment, and so the closed circuit TV shows the process of doing that. So that's the picture that was used. And then what's happening next? Oh yes, the women going off to play tennis. Took that picture just before they went. And that's their walk planned in the evening to have Christmas dinner with the Ascot Tennis Club in the Dog and Partridge. I watched the closed circuit TV for the night before, starting from midnight running forward. Wasn't very much, just the foxes coming for peanuts on both the front porch and the top bridge patio door. Yeah, through till 07:32 when the cameras switched to colour, and then going back from midnight. Yes, a rather furtive visit by the fox, and the camera switched at 16:10 to black and white. So not much of interest that night. So leave Toadie looking after the house. I take a walk down into the village, past Homer, and yes, quite a pleasant evening. Wasn't raining at that point. Went into the Comrades Club, forced myself to have a glass of wine and enjoy the atmosphere there. Particularly enjoyed watching the pool being played. And then Samantha and June joined us just for a few minutes, and June said, "Oh, look, the rain's coming in, so we better make a move pretty soon." So we set off home a few minutes back up the road. Quite like the decorations, a bit blurred in the photos there, but they look okay. And yeah, we've just thrown up the tree, but it didn't look too bad. And the trackers said, "Oh, that's where Robin's been." And so that's it, time for bed. That's the end of the photo trail.
No, the photo trails weren't complete because although they were very useful in 2023 for a record of all sorts of things, including mistakes I'd made on whatever it was, at the end of the day, one can't spend all the time taking photos, and especially when you've got to be very careful of what's in them. So, one cat we haven't seen. Now, here's Sumatra, a normal work position, and there's who you've already seen in Bentley. And I'm just going to pop upstairs in order that you see our cat Toadie, because Bentley, he comes over here for meals and spend most of the day relaxing. Isn't that right, Bentley? No, I was going to say he's had a hard life, but I'm sure he hasn't. So we're going to race upstairs here now, because I think I last saw Toadie in, yes, Michelle's room. Here we are. Hello, Toadie. Oh, how are you then? Okay? You coming down? Obviously not. Neglected to mention that these photo trails were very useful during 2023, but in the last few days I've hardly shot any photos other than important ones, certainly not a story. So this little camera will get less use. So now into that clip about global warming and the DVLA from earlier in the year, and I think we started from about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is rare in itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert. Shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired happy and spending their kids' inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Lovelocks launched his Snoop Loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes. That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worry for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request, but when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well, but as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday, that'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me wittering on, which is one of my main weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly, be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen, and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha. And here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television, just for a change. So, oh yes, point out, holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive. And through into the lounge and out to wrap up this video by saying, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have.